From Space Launch Complex 6 at Vandenberg Air Force Base, California, United Launch Alliance presents live Delta IV launch coverage. On board, the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
Ready to go for launch. Roger, go for launch.
T-minus
3, 2, 1.
Atlas engine ignition.
Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes, 37 seconds, and counting. Our launch time this afternoon is 4:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Good afternoon and welcome to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. I'm Don Spencer and I'll be your commentator for today's mission. Later in the broadcast you'll hear the voice of Steve Agid providing launch vehicle ascent data during the flight. At the request of our customer, this afternoon's coverage will conclude following confirmation of payload fairing jettison, which occurs approximately 3.5 minutes after liftoff. And the launch count has just entered a planned 15-minute hold. This hold is designed to allow launch conductor Ward Johansson and his team some time to conduct various system checks before the countdown resumes. However, at this point, we remain on schedule for launch at 4:12 p.m. Pacific Time. And as I mentioned earlier, this afternoon's Delta IV rocket is carrying the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. This is the 6th Delta IV flight for the NRO. The NRO is a joint organization engaged in the research and development, acquisition, launch, and operation of overhead reconnaissance systems necessary to meet the needs of the intelligence community and the Department of Defense. The mission of the NRO is innovative overhead intelligence systems for national security. NRO's vision is vigilance from above. The NRO commemorated 50 years of service to the nation last year. In addition to its significant historical accomplishments, the NRO is recognized for its transformational intelligence collection systems that are used to develop highly accurate military targeting data, support international peacekeeping and humanitarian relief operations, and assess the impact of natural disasters. NRO systems continue to ensure vigilance from above. And moments ago, the weather briefing was held here at Vandenberg Air Force Base. The launch team was told that the weather is within the launch commit criteria for today's liftoff. Current weather conditions are as follows. The probability of violating launch constraints remains 40%. The only concern there are the ground winds. Ground winds are in the 12 to 18 knot range with gusts to 22 to 24 knots. Winds are out of the north-northwest. Upper level winds are well within the constraint, and the temperature here at Vandenberg Air Force Base is in the 52 to 57 degree range Fahrenheit. So the team is go for liftoff with T0 planned for 4:12 p.m. Pacific Time. The Delta IV Medium Plus 5.2 configuration will launch the NROL-25 mission. This is the first flight of the 5.2 configuration and the 19th Delta IV launch since the inaugural flight in 2002. The 5.2 vehicle is comprised of a common booster core powered by the RS-68 engine and 2 solid rocket motors. The RS-68 delivers 650,000 pounds of thrust at liftoff, with each solid rocket motor providing an additional 225,000 pounds of thrust, giving the Delta IV more than 1 million pounds of thrust off the pad. The Delta IV stands approximately 220 feet tall and weighs 750,000 pounds fully fueled. Today's launch is the culmination of many years of work by the combined ULA and NRO team. On March 13th, the payload fairing was mated to the booster. And the launch countdown began approximately 9 hours ago when the Mobile Service Tower, or MST, was rolled back in preparation for launch. The 33-story MST weighs over 9 million pounds and is rolled to its launch position 300 feet east of the Delta IV rocket. And for those of you watching the launch broadcast, you can see here a view earlier of the MST being rolled away from the vehicle at Space Launch Complex 6 on the south base here at Vandenberg. This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding, and we continue to move towards launch at 4:12 p.m. Pacific time. The animation you'll see after liftoff is referred to as STK, or Satellite Toolkit. STK uses real-time telemetry data from the launch vehicle to track the flight beyond the range of ground-based cameras. STK is a three-dimensional representation of the launch vehicle's trip through the atmosphere into space. While the launch team completes final preparations for launch, let's take a closer look at today's flight with a video that incorporates the animation I just described.
The following profile details the important events of this mission using approximate times. The Delta IV rocket will launch the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, plus 1. Liftoff. 2, 3.
The Delta RS-68 main engine and two strap-on solid rocket motors ignite to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Delta begins its initial pitch and yaw maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. Delta IV reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 50 seconds. At 59 seconds, the vehicle experiences maximum dynamic pressure. The strap-on solid rocket motors, or SRMs, burn out 1 minute 34 seconds into the flight. At 1 minute 40 seconds, the solid rocket motors are jettisoned. At 3 minutes 21 seconds, the payload fairing is jettisoned.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Today's launch is dedicated to the memory of Delta teammate and McDonnell Douglas employee Alex Rossi. A true Delta pioneer, Alex's 25-year career began with Douglas's Thor program in 1956 and included international assignments in support of national defense. As the Delta launch vehicle evolved from the Thor missile, Alex served as the Delta chief design engineer. In this role, Alex was an inspirational leader of the effort to conceive and develop the Delta rocket. Alex was a well-respected member of the Delta team, both for his technical leadership as well as for his ability to seamlessly integrate with all phases of the operation, from the design center and factory to the launch sites at both coasts. We thank Alex for his commitment to innovation, mission success, quality, and integrity, along with his desire to help others succeed. His participation and dedication to enable our nation's space program's success will be remembered. His achievements made a difference to our nation. This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. To commemorate today's mission, a logo contest was held for the children and grandchildren of NRO personnel. For those watching the broadcast, you're looking at the winning logo artwork. Congratulations to 9-year-old Sydney Brenneman, who designed and drew the winning launch logo.
10 minutes.
All personnel remain on Command Channel 1 until after liftoff is confirmed. Post-launch securing will be conducted on Channel 15. Flight data will be reported real-time on Channel 2. All personnel, if a condition that exceeds the launch constraint is observed during the final 4 minutes, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on the command channel, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
L-minus 9 minutes.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the planned 15-minute built-in hold and preparing for the final count. Launch conductor Ward Johansson will be polling the launch team in a few moments for the final go to pick up the Delta IV launch countdown. 31 launch managers and engineers will be polled for system readiness status and to proceed with the launch. This is the final status check before launch for all Delta vehicle systems, including the ground systems, the payload, and the U.S. Air Force Western Range. The vehicle systems readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Some of the final processing steps just prior to launch include completing the propellant topping of both vehicle stages and securing propellant tanks, as well as pressurizing tanks to flight pressures. And launch conductor Ward Johansson is now ready to perform the final polling of the launch team for a go to pick up the launch countdown.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. MEQ.
Go.
MEQA.
Go.
HYE.
Go.
LOX 1.
Go.
LOX 2.
Go.
VP.
Go.
P&E.
Go.
BP.
Go.
ATC 1.
Go.
PEA.
Go.
Fuel 1.
Go.
Fuel 2.
Go.
TM 1.
Go.
ATC 3.
Go.
TM 2.
Go.
FMA.
Go.
VE.
Go.
EEA.
Go.
GE.
Go.
SYS.
Go.
DSE.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
ALC.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
SC.
Go.
RC.
Range, weather, and clear to proceed.
USO.
Go.
OSM.
Go.
VSC.
Go.
AC.
Go.
Launch Director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission Director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. MEQ, establish swing arm lock pins pull.
Active.
SYS, establish record on change list activated.
Activated. L-minus 6 minutes.
And the Delta launch team has given a go for launch for the Delta IV launch vehicle with L-25 spacecraft on board. The countdown will resume at T-minus 4 minutes and 1 minute 39 seconds. At T-minus 4 minutes, the team will activate high-speed cameras and begin transferring the launch vehicle from ground facility power to its own internal battery power. At T-minus 3 minutes 32 seconds, the common booster core propellant tank securing will be started, and the vehicle will transfer to internal power will be complete. CBC fill and drain valves will be closed, and the CBC lock securing will be complete. Also at 3 minutes 32 seconds, CBC, LH2, and LO2 securing will occur in parallel. At T-minus 3 minutes, the vehicle ordnance and flight termination system will be armed. The CBC LOX and LH2 tanks are at flight pressure and at flight level. At T-minus 2 minutes, the team will verify second stage LOX securing is started, and hydraulic pressures will be at 4,000 psi, and the CBC upper stage and FTS battery voltages will be verified. At T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds, LOX is secured at flight level. Also, the LOX ground system securing sequence is verified, and LOX GSC is secured at 1 minute 30 seconds. At 1 minute 20 seconds, the second stage LH2 securing is started. At T-minus 60 seconds, the RS-68 engine start box switches to go, and range status is reported. At T-minus 50 seconds, LH2 is secured at flight level. At T-minus 15 seconds, the vehicle igniter is armed and the pogo is open. Liftoff occurs at T0.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
And we are at T-minus 3 minutes, 55 seconds, and counting. This is Delta Mission Control.
350. T-minus 3 minutes, 32 seconds.
CBC propellant tank securing started.
Vehicle transfer internal complete. Three minutes, 14 seconds.
CBC pre-press started.
CBC lock secured.
3 minutes, 7 seconds. T-minus 3 minutes. Vehicle ordnance arming.
CBC press bridges on. CBC LH2 secured.
Vehicle ordnance armed.
CBC locks at flight pressure and flight level.
CBC LH2 at flight pressure and flight level.
T-minus 2 minutes.
GPA script.
This is Delta Mission Control, T-minus 1 minute, 55 seconds, and counting, and the countdown continues to look good, progressing as expected, moving towards T0 as planned.
One minute, 30 seconds.
T-minus 1 minute, 25 seconds, and counting. The launch vehicle, spacecraft, ground systems
20 seconds.
are all in a go status.
Stage LH2 securing started.
Second stage lock secure at flight level.
60 seconds.
1 minute and counting.
Go.
Rock report range status.
This is rock range green.
50. 45.
Second stage LH2 secure at flight level.
Launch enable. GE main power off.
Main power off.
Green board.
25.
Flight lock in. SRM TVC blowdown.
T-minus 15, 14,
Igniters armed.
13,
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Delta engine ignition. 1, 0, and liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV rocket carrying the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
Chamber pressure on both solids, very symmetrical burn.
You're hearing the voice of Steve Agate providing launch vehicle ascent data.
15 seconds in. Still looking good. Good engine control on the first stage. Chamber pressure beginning to drop off, as expected, on the main engine. Correction in the two solids. Altitude now 4 nautical miles, velocity 1,500 feet per second, downrange distance 11.2 nautical miles. If we passed Mach 1 at 50, Mach, and now at maximum dynamic pressure. Good engine control on the first stage. Standing by for SRM burnout. About 10 seconds from now. And we have burnout standing by for SEP. And we have separation. Good engine control. The Delta vehicle now only weighs about 1/2 of what it did at launch.
This is Delta Mission Control at all plus 1 minute, 57 seconds into the flight. And as you just heard, Steve Agate confirmed jettison of the 2 solid rocket motors. The mission is continuing as expected.
Nautical miles, velocity 3,427 feet per second, downrange distance 30.8 nautical miles. 2 minutes, 12 seconds in. Good engine control in the first stage. Very stable burn. Coming up 2 minutes, 32 seconds. About 1 minute until pairing separation. Good control on the first stage. Chamber pressure holding rock solid as we're approaching the 3-minute mark. Three minutes in, still looking good. Good engine control on the first stage and pitch on yaw, good chamber pressure. Standing by for fairing SEP. About 10 seconds from now.
This is Delta Mission Control at L plus 3 minutes, 50 seconds, and counting. We've just seen the successful liftoff of the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. Liftoff occurred as planned at 4:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'd like to thank Steve Agate for his support of today's launch broadcast, providing launch vehicle ascent data. And at the request of our customer, we'll now conclude our live Delta IV launch broadcast coverage. For more information about the Delta IV, please visit our website at www.ulalaunch.com. And we'll leave you now with one final look at the liftoff of the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. So on behalf of the entire launch team, I'm Don Spencer. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Flight lock-in.
SRM TVC blowdown.
T-minus 15, 14,
Igniters are on.
13,
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 10,
9,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Delta engine ignition. 1, 0. And liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV rocket carrying the NROL-25 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
With chamber pressure on both solids, very symmetrical burn.
You're hearing the voice of Steve Agate providing launch vehicle ascent data.
15 seconds in. Still looking good. Good engine control on the first stage. Chamber pressure beginning to drop off, as expected, on the main engine. Correction in the two solids. Altitude now 4 nautical miles, velocity 1,500 feet per second, downrange distance 11.2 nautical miles. If we passed Mach 1 at 50, and now at the maximum dynamic pressure. Good engine control on the first stage. Standing by for SRM burnout. About 10 seconds from now.